That's all I can tell you, and it sucks that that's the end of that. And it feels like an awkward note to end on. So maybe I'd put this at the beginning and then talk about 1,000 Years for You and Destiny of White Snake. I don't know, because I don't know whether this is going to be separate. It's only 13 minutes long. I don't want to make this separate, but I don't know where any of this is going to go once I edit it. So after all the editing is done, I'll see what happens. And that's all I can say. And it feels like a really weird wrap-up last thing to... But that's all I've got. So this is a very awkward, messed up, mixed up, confusing... Okay, so life and being distracted. But the only other thing that I wanted to say about Jialun, the only other thing that I can say about him and his characters, I did want to do a really quick note on Ren Jialun from Detective Dee, because that's the only other character I can say something about. And typically I wouldn't be saying anything about his characters until I'm actually done the drama, because my opinion of characters and all that kind of stuff, it kind of changes the more you get to know them. So the longer I'm watching a drama, the more my opinion of the character is going to change, because I have to see what they're going through and what their real intentions are and all this kind of stuff. Detective Dee, the reason that I want to say something now is because if I don't say something now, I never will, because I'm really bad at endurance, and it's going to take me flat out forever. Go. It's going to take me flat out forever to finish this drama, because it's 66 episodes long, and yes, the episodes are shorter. They're more like half an hour-ish rather than the normal 45 to an hour long episodes. So it's much shorter, but at the same time, that's a lot of episodes, and I've seen 14 episodes with English subtitles, and I've watched episode 15 with only Hanja, and I've backed up and putting subtitles on, but I'm not even halfway through episode 15 with English subtitles. So it is literally going to take me flat out forever, and it's already been very much backburnered and put on hold because of Destiny of White Snake and Killer and Healer, and now I'm watching Beauty Hao Lan. Can you tell that I'm now on a roll with another actor, except that this is the end of the roll because too many of his dramas I have no interest in, or he's too much of a support character, or I can't find it. Mao Zi Jun is also a very good actor. I am positive that he has not been properly noticed yet, and he should be, because he deserves to be noticed, because he's a very impactful actor. Very impactful. But that's a whole completely different. I'm only supposed to be talking about Detective Dee right now. So I really, since I'm not even halfway through this drama, really, I can't say much. But I do want to say that Ren Jialun is his name in Detective Dee. And I can already tell that this character is very unique, because... not only because all of his characters are always unique, end of story. I can already see how he's unique, even within the first few episodes, because Ren Jialun, he is one of those characters where he is extremely fast, and they called it something within the drama, and now, like, because I put it on hold, and it was only once that they named it, and that was in episode like 3 or 4 or something that they named it, and that was how many episodes ago? I forget what they called it, but supposedly he's got an actual technique that's like bordering on magical. Some in their kung fu stuff, martial arts stuff, sorry. It's like bordering on magical, but he's got this special talent that no other character that Jialun has ever played has. And what he does is, he's like, at one point they're running down the street, and he's like, looks here, looks there, looks there, looks at that. He sees all of this stuff. Instantly he knows what to do, and it's fine-tuned down to the absolute fine-tune, which is literally completely unrealistic. There's no way that you could possibly, for one thing, do it that fast, and for another thing, get that accurate. Like, that doesn't happen except by accident in real life. Like, the chances of that happening that accurately, 0, or pretty close to 0. I was supposed to say, it's bordering on magic. So that's what makes Ren Jialun very unique, is that ability of his. He is like the scholarly type, but he's got this paintbrush that when it's wet, he can use it as a paintbrush, and when it's not wet, it's kind of like this weird little gun thing where he can shoot something out of it, and he's extremely accurate with it because he practiced so hard. He's got a little touch of arrogance to him because he's so good. when you're that talented and you're constantly like proving how talented you are. It's like Xuan from Destiny of Whitesnake, where everybody knows he's the best doctor in town, and this detective is the best detective in town, and it's like head inflating. That type of arrogance. And one of the girls said something about his type of character is the one that loves the spotlight. So he's like, he's okay with this. He's okay with his head getting bigger. But, so, I'm extremely intrigued by his character so far. He's very unique already. Very unique. So, and he's kind of scary, too. Because, like, talk about setting things up to get to a certain point. Like, he's solving murder mysteries, right? So there's this dead body in the street, and he asks this guy, do you really want me to solve it? And it's like, he's asking because he knows what the truth is already. And it's flippin' freaky, okay? How he knows that this guy didn't do it, because he knows what that guy was doing while this body was being killed. He knows what that guy was doing, and it's like flippin' freaky. Do you want me to prove that he's innocent? Because he knows the only way to prove him innocent is to prove what he was doing instead. And I'm like, ugh. And then the setup that he had for that guy because of... Okay. I'm just telling you, it's flippin' freaky. So... Yeah. That's kind of all I can say about Detective Dee so far. Because, like, I really haven't. And it's going to take forever, and unless it's, like, super big, I don't know, months down the road when I ever finish it, I don't know if I'll ever do another video on it. Probably not, because I'm really bad in endurance, and I don't have a clue how long this is going to take me. Because of that whole endurance thing. How long is it going to take me to very slowly plow through this drama, or am I just going to give up and drop it because I can't stand going this slow? I have no idea what's going to happen. So that's as much as I can tell you. He's a unique character, for sure. And, which is... incredible when this is like the second main role that Jialun is playing, and further proof that he's like an epic actor if he's already doing this with that character. As far as the couple in that one goes, I really can't say yet, because I definitely know who his love interest is, and it seems like there's something big going on there, because like it showed that like she's already confessing her love to him. And I'm not sure why he's holding back and not. Is it, like, because he's got a bigger goal that he'd rather do that than settle down and get married? And, like, is it because of the life that he would have to live if he was with her right now and he just wants to do this first? Or is it because, like, being in a relationship just isn't interesting him because he wants to do this? I'm not sure what about it made him, like, not. But, I mean, for some reason, his response there where she was saying something and he was just, like, dead silent, did not say a word. He's just looking at her. For some reason, I was like... watching that, I was like, ooh, the depth to this. And he wasn't even saying anything, and like what she was saying and the way she backed out and him not saying anything and them just like, okay then, let's just drink. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, the show has done this thing where I didn't realize that his love interest, the actor that, or actress that plays her, also plays another character in that drama. And yes, they look exactly the same, but they are two different people from my understanding so far, because, like, episode 14? Or is it... no, it's episode 15, where the second character that looks exactly like his love interest is introduced. So literally, I just met her with no English subtitles yet. I have no idea why she looks like his love interest at this point. I don't really understand who she is yet, and I have no idea why she looks like his love interest. So in the end, I'm actually not sure which one of them is actually the one he ends up with. The one that was originally his love interest, or the girl that looks like her. How much of a main character is this second girl, versus how much of a main character is his? Like, when that actress is pegged as a main character, which one of her characters is a main character? Which one of them does what? I have no idea whatsoever. So actually, I really can't form an opinion at all on the love interest in that story, because I know nothing about it yet. I have no idea which one of them he actually ends up with. I'm going to assume it's the original girl. I actually don't know. Who is the second girl? How much is she in the story? What's her relationship with him? I have no idea. So that's all I can tell you. That's if anybody has watched this show and knows Chinese, a really good translating site that makes it super easy and accurate to translate what they're saying, please let me know. So, that's all I can tell you, and it sucks that that's the end of that. How many times have I tried to start this video now, and either I'm all rambling and ranty and talking about things that got nothing to do with it, or I'm like, am I supposed to jump into the middle and assume you know what I'm talking about, or am I supposed to explain what's happening here? Short version, my whole series on Ren Jialun, Chinese actor, and I was going through all the main characters that I could possibly go through that he has played, and even touched on a few of the guest characters that he was, like to show you that he's an epic actor and why and how. And I'm basically done it, but I said that I have to refilm Luyan from 1,000 Years for You, and at the same time I also said that I'd put it off. When I did the couples video, I think it was, I said that I was putting it off until I could film my reaction to Xuan from Destiny of Whitesnake, because I caved in because I was going through withdrawal and all the rest of this kind of stuff and watched Destiny of Whitesnake. And I said I had to finish that so that I could do a reaction to him, and then I'd put Luyan and Xuan in the same video. So, this is happening sooner than I expected it to happen, and I'll explain why once I get to Destiny of Whitesnake. But first of all, to stop scattering everything all over the place, let me focus on Luyan from 1,000 Years for You. Brain, come on. So, my reaction to Luyan from 1,000 Years for You, part of why I wanted to put this off was because, like, sometimes, like, I really need to stop and think about things, like, even just on the unconscious level. It's called processing. But the problem is that I'm not really processing it because I'm distracting myself and moving on to other things. So this is actually getting harder to do a proper reaction to him than it is to get, than it's getting, rather than getting easier, it's getting harder. So I need to get this done. The thing is, I went flipping back through 1,000 Years for You to take screen caps in order to do this video. And here's my problem with reacting to Luyan and trying to figure out where he is. Originally, I had him up like at spot 3 above Yichang. And then I said I actually should move him below Yichang. And then I'm like, but why? And this is what I couldn't figure out. It was where he should be and why, and like what is it about him, and like I've got all messed up feelings about him, and I've come to realize at least part of why, and I'm pretty sure it's a fairly big reason why, is because when dramas, like, there's not very many dramas that I've actually watched as they came out. This is the first Chinese one that I watched it's the second Chinese one that I watched as it came out, because I watched Daybreaker as it was coming out. Daybreaker, I know this is off topic, but Daybreaker, as it was coming out, I got like excited and I was watching it, and I love that show. I absolutely love it. It's because of that actor that played in Daybreaker. I'd seen him on Lost Tomb 2, and I was interested, but not extremely interested, and then I watched Daybreaker, and I'm like, he's a really good actor. So it's because of him that I watched Legend of Xuan, because he's the main character in Legend of Xuan. And he's still a good actor. I have not changed my mind on that. He's still a good actor. But I didn't like his character in Xuan. I was very much back and forth on whether I liked him or not. And then it's because of Legend of Xuan that I've told you before that I got really interested in Jialun and wanted to see him in more stuff because of his character Lue in Legend of Xuan. So that was the progression of that, which is actually really funny that I'm thinking about it now, that Daybreaker was the one that kind of started me into that, which started me into this, and now the only other Chinese drama that I've watched as it came out was 1,000 Years for You. Problem is, 1,000 Years for You, I didn't just watch it as it was coming out. I also saw the build-up of excitement to it. So like I was seeing clips from it and trailers for it and all the rest of this stuff. And the problem with that is that it gets me really, really excited because it's supposed to. It's building excitement on purpose so that you'll come and watch this drama, which is fine, unless you're someone like me who's like really excited because of the type of drama it is. I love like the magic stuff, like fantasy and all that is still my favorite type of drama, fantasy. And like, so I'm very much drawn to that kind of thing, and like, this one is a beautiful drama, okay? I don't know what other word to use for it. It is a beautiful drama. The way they filmed it, the style of it, like, the aesthetics of it, it is a beautiful drama. Like, there is no discussion about this. It's beautifully done, like, beautifully. And the magic is really cool. It's like my type of magic, and I really like it. So I was getting really excited, and the problem is, like, I don't most people probably wouldn't have this problem. I'm going to guess that I can blame ADHD again for this, where like when I get excited about something, if you get my excitement going, it skyrockets and then I'm like on a high. And when I'm on a high about something, when I come off of that high, it's never back to the normal stage. I don't just go woohoo and then go back to like most people do. I crash under that line. Either I get really sad and depressed and like mixed emotions of like the sadness of it's gone now and I can never get it back and I'll never be like that again or whatever, like extreme back down, or I get like, frustrated and angry and whatever. And it's like, doesn't make sense to me. But at the same time, like, that's why I say I'm pretty sure I can blame ADHD for that, because that's what happens when you have ADHD. Emotional regulation is out the window. There is no regulation. So I got really excited and super excited about 1,000 Years for You. And as I was watching this drama, I absolutely loved it up to a certain point. And then very sadly, don't think it's just me. And this is part of what I was trying to process. Is it just me looking back at it and, or is this real? And I think it's probably a mixture of both. But to me, they were doing super well with the story. It was unique. And then at this certain point, they put this thing in the story where I'm like, they confused me. Because what I want to know the most, even the characters didn't bother bringing it up until over here. And I'm like, shouldn't this be the number one question in everybody's head right now? And yet you'll just like skim right over it and deal with everything else under the sun. And then it's like, oh yeah, afterthought, by the way, how is this possible? And I'm like, huh? And then they kind of answer the question. And then they change their answer to the question. And then they change their answer again to the question. They changed the answer like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, and it was like, it felt like they were like seriously convoluting the story all of a sudden. And it was just weird. And I'm like, it's almost like all of a sudden they didn't even know what they were doing with the story. Like, I literally write stories like that sometimes where I'm not sure what's happening yet. So I'm like, this. And then I'm like, no, scrap that. This. No, scrap that. This. No, this is what works. And usually all of this is taken out of the story and nobody ever sees that but me. Sometimes when I'm watching dramas, I feel like they do this and they leave all of that in there for the viewer to watch. And I'm like, you're supposed to take that out. Once you realize that this and this and this are not what's happening, you're supposed to take that out. But I feel like they left it all in there and they were like, we don't know. Here's the answer. And they're showing flashbacks and showing what was happening, and every time they gave you the real answer, they backed up and showed you the same thing over and over again. So by the time it came to the point in the story where I should be like upset and crying because this is really sad, I literally didn't care anymore. I was like, you've showed me this like 4 times already and I'm tired of seeing it. Go, like, I don't care. And that's not what my reaction should have been. It's not what anybody's reaction should have been. That is a fail on the part of the screenwriter's part. Like, serious fail. So they went through all of that and messed it all up. And then they did the massive, massive, massive mistake, spoiler for the end of this drama, of bringing in a different bad guy to deal with way, 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 way too late in the story, okay? Way too late in the story. I don't care if you mentioned this character at the beginning of the drama. So, okay, it's not that this bad guy came out of left field. It's just more the fact it came back is out of left field. You literally, I think it was 5 episodes to the end of the drama when they brought this bad guy in. And I'm like, this is a no. Like, absolutely no. All capital letters. N-O with a period. No. You don't do this in your stories. Like, no. Because then what happens is you've got 5 episodes to introduce this character, to explain this character, and then to take this character down. So what happens is, and this is why I'm all mixed up about Luyan. Where do I place him? Because and I think what's happening is he's very similar to Mu Qing, and the problem that, like, I had him much higher in the list, and I think he's getting pushed way down in the list, so he's not a favorite anymore. And I think it's the same thing as what happened with Mu Qing, where I really did love this character, but because of what the story did, he got taken out of character, and therefore I cannot like him as much. Because by the end of the drama, my thoughts on it at the end of the drama is that I'm all messed up and all angry and all frustrated. And then every time I think of the character, I'm angry and frustrated and annoyed. And I'm like, that's not fair. I used to love this character, but now I can't think of them without being annoyed and frustrated and angry. So, and that's not Jialun's fault at all. It's the script writing's fault. Because what the end of this drama ended up doing, with only 5 episodes left, Luyan was taken out of character. Because all of a sudden, the story itself is rushing, and they're trying to reach this point, so all the characters have to head for that point, whether it makes sense or not. Luyan, what I wrote here was that he's got that dangerous power that he doesn't back away from. He always does what he believes is right. He wants so much to be with Dang Dang, and yet when he has to choose between her and dozens of others' lives, he still doesn't take the selfish route. He willingly sacrifices himself to save them. The most unique thing about him is his magic, his mixture of magical creature but also human, and the blending of two worlds that is tangible enough to feel all the way through the drama. Okay, Luyan. I don't know. I'm very actually mixed up about Luyan. But the way he was taken out of character, for most of the drama, Luyan is very much a head thinker. He actively moves his body, goes out there, uses his brain to hunt down the answer. He sets things in motion, and he goes between things to make sure it's all going where it's supposed to go. In the end of the drama, because the story is now rushing in 5 episodes, he is not using his head anymore. He literally turns from a head thinker into a heart thinker. Everything he does is run by his emotions. He finds out that this bad guy exists. He goes to attack that bad guy. He finds out that this is potentially happening because of it. He leaves to go find out if that's true. And once he finds out it's true, for the whole rest of the drama, I cannot stand it when dramas end this way, okay? When you spend like 2 to 3, I can't remember exactly how many it was, but I think it was at least 2 episodes. At the very least 1.5 episodes. When you spend all of that time with all of the characters pretending that this is what's happening when really this is what's happening, literally they are dragging out a goodbye without admitting that it's a goodbye, because everybody is doing their own thing, not talking to each other, not actually using their heads, not actually plotting out a logical, good response that could, like, you know, everybody can be happy. No, they all start thinking with their emotions, and they all up and decide that they're the ones that's going to sacrifice everything and just goodbye without talking to the other person and all this stuff. I'm like, I mentioned in the partners video a little bit about this and why Luyan and Dang Dang are so low on my partners list of favorite couples. Yeah, no. I just have no other words but no. No! Luyan is not a heart thinker. He is not an emotionally run, like, whatever. He is a head thinker through the entire drama. And then because they up and decided that this drama in the last 5 episodes are going to completely change the story on me, everything, I'm not exaggerating right here, this whole drama for the last 5 episodes felt like a completely different drama from the first, I forget how many episodes it is long. But you've got this story happening, and then you have some weird, they don't know what's going on here, and then the last 5 episodes is a completely different drama. They are completely different dramas. It's so different because the characters are not acting like themselves. Dang Dang is not even acting like herself because now she has the magical powers and stuff. She became, like I said in the other one, she went from being a unique, interesting character to being, I don't know what. Like, she was kind of boring and completely not unique, and like... And Luyan changed. He's not the same as he was before. He turns into this emotional mess rather than being a head thinker. And like the whole story, like all of a sudden everybody, all of the characters are just... It's an emotional mess in the end. And I'm like, what happened? It's a different story. It was such a massive letdown. And I'm like, for Luyan, there was several places in this story where I was like, that was so well done. Like, as typical. Jialun is an epic actor, okay? Like, the look on his face and the way he was literally backing away from Dang Dang when she broke that spell. And the look on his face as he's realizing what that means, that she broke that spell. Whew. And, like, later as he's figuring out who she actually is and his reactions and everything, I was like, whew. So there's several places, like, it was amazing. But, like, this character... That's what I say. Now I'm, like, overthinking it instead of processing and properly coming to a place. I'm to the point where I'm just plain overthinking it. So I'm kind of sort of in a mess where I'm left with, I honestly don't know where to put Lu Yan. He's... So this is the best I can give you. And I feel like it's cheating, and I don't feel like it's a good response, but at the same time, that's all I can give you on it. In a way, he's the most ununique character, even though he definitely has some unique things about him. In a way, he was the most ununique, because he's like the only one where there's the two characters that Jialun plays that is a general, this guy and the guy from One and Only, and I'm like, in a way, they are so similar. Like, when you flash back and see him as a general, I'm like, he feels so much like Zhou Shang-chan from One and Only. I'm like, talk about that carbon copy. And then in the present, like, I don't know. Oh, that whole scene where pictures. Okay, so that was probably just as much of a mess as the first time I filmed it, and I probably don't like this reaction either. And I think, in a way, this is one of the ones where Jialun could have done better. But I cannot seem to put my finger on exactly why I feel like that. I don't have a script for Destiny of Whitesnake, because this is out of the blue that this is happening. I had written out what makes them unique and all the rest of that stuff about all the other characters, because I knew that I'd end up forgetting stuff and, like, blending everything together in my head if I didn't do that. Destiny of Whitesnake, I was literally just watching, so I shouldn't need because it should be all fresh in my head, except that I already, in order to make myself let go, I already moved on to another drama, so now all of that is in my head. Like I said, Mao Zi Jun. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Destiny of Whitesnake. I told you I'd film this when I'm done it. I'm not done it. Problem is that I'm never going to be done it. Because the problem is, I dropped it. I was finished 33 episodes. Just a few minutes in, like, I forget, it was even 6 minutes in maximum into the 34th episode. 61 episodes. There's 61 episodes in Destiny of Whitesnake. I had to drop it. Here's the thing. There was 2 things about it that, because of the description that my drama list wrote, I was not expecting. These 2 things. 2 sort of 3 things. The rest of what I was expecting is exactly what I was expecting, and that's why I had to drop it. Especially combined with one thing that I was unsure, because it could have gone either way, and they chose to go this way, and because they chose to go that way, nope, cannot watch it. So, Destiny of Whitesnake, the problem is, what I was not expecting, 1, my drama list, the description they gave made it sound like... Okay, here's my problem. I had to open it up for names because, like, my gosh, Zhao Qing and Ji Chao and Zhao Bai, like, and Zhu Xuan, like, what is with this stupid drama and their stupid names? They're, like, so close to the same name, like, talk about confusing. Okay. This... Sometimes, like, I should do a whole video on my drama list and all the issues I have with it. Like, my gosh. They made it sound like Mao Zi Jun's character is a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. Just for starters. So I was expecting him to be the bad guy because it says that he's trying to get in the way of Zhu Xuan and Zhao Bai being together. And he's like, it says that he's like, when the demon catcher Fa Hai finds the 2 together, he becomes obsessed with tearing them apart. I'm like, great. I don't want to watch Mao Zi Jun's character be a bad guy again. because the only other thing that I'd seen him in at that point was Chusen, where he was supposed to be a bad guy, and I ended up hating all the good guys in that show instead of him, because, and I still haven't done a video explaining all of that. That's a long, complicated story. Anyway, okay, that's what it said in the thing for one. For another, actually, I forgot it said Fa Hai. Okay, so that character has 3 names. Okay, I have no idea who Fa Hai is, alright? So clearly, Fa Hai comes into it after episode 33. During the part of the story that I didn't watch. Clearly, because I've never heard the name Fa Hai. I have no idea what they're talking about. None. 0. I know the name Ling Chu. I know who that is, and he was not a bad guy. I know the name Ji Chao. He was not a bad guy either. He's absolutely epic. He is my #1 favorite character in Destiny of White Snake. I absolutely love Ji Chao. He is so cool. I love that guy. I even really liked Ling Chu. Okay? Favorite character. I have no idea who Fa Hai is. Maybe he's the bald guy. I don't know. He's clearly in the second half of the story. So maybe, like, my drama list. Seriously. Who the heck is Fa Hai? What are you talking about? He becomes obsessed with breaking them apart. Who? How? What? Why? I don't know, because I haven't seen it, and I never will, because we're getting there. So for starters, I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was going to be a bad guy through the whole thing, and for 33 episodes, he is anything but a bad guy. He's like the coolest, bestest friend you could possibly ask for the first half of the drama at least. For the whole thing that I saw, he was epic. I absolutely love that guy. The second thing that I was absolutely not expecting to have happen, okay, everybody put a plaque on the wall. It actually happened. Normally when I watch dramas, I don't know why. I think it's partially just because I'm a girl, so I'm drawn to the men. And I think it's also because a lot of dramas are obsessed with making stupid women. It's unfair, but they are obsessed with making stupid women. In Destiny of Whitesnake, like I say, put a plaque on the wall because this is so extremely rare. It's like, never happens. My favorite character is Ji Chao, and this is why I need these stupid names in front of me, because every time I'm like, is it Ji Chao or is it Zhao Qi or is it... Ji Chao is my favorite character. My second favorite character is not Zhu Xuan. My second favorite character is a tie between Zhao Bai and Zhao Qing. Mind blown. I like the girls better than I like one of the guys. And on top of that, Ji Xuan is the one played by Jialun. And yet he's my third favorite. Mind absolutely blown, okay? Was not expecting that at all. For the first few episodes, I saw Zhao Bai and I went, yup, I'm gonna hate this girl. She's a spoiled, self-centered brat. I don't like this. I can see where this is going. And they shocked me because that's not what she's like. She's actually not self-centered at all. She is not putting other people in danger. She's not, as far as I saw. See, here's the problem. We'll get to it. But Zhao Bai, I actually really liked her. She is a sweetheart. She is really caring. She is, like, smart. She's, like, she fights hard to, like, you know, be good and all this stuff. And, like, I love her. And then Zhao Qing is, like, seriously the cutest thing ever. Zhao Qing and Ji Zhao, oh my gosh, they are so cute. Through the roof cute. I love those two together. And then there's Xuan. Once again, yes, Jialun's epic acting. I will never back away from that claim. Even when I don't like his character, and that is the third-ish thing I was not expecting from this drama. Jialun, you managed to do it. I don't like one of your characters, and it is not in any way, shape, or form the same way that I didn't like his character in Blue Whisper. This guy, you know how I'm pretty sure I left it in one of my videos somewhere, where Jialun's characters, like, all of them have certain qualities to some degree or another. And I closed it too. How fast can I find it? Overall, Jialun's characters, I can't remember if I left this in a video or not, so I'll put it here. Overall, all of them, to some degree or another, have strong qualities of intelligent, skills or talents, wisdom, based on, like, experience, loyalty, patience and thoughtfulness, selflessness, and honesty. Zhu Xuan is his only character that is straight up arrogant. He is so arrogant that more than one character in the show tells him or discusses with each other how arrogant he is, because he's so arrogant. And there are places in the show where it's kind of a little bit kind of cute / really funny arrogance, because you can tell that it's kind of halfway fake, because he acts like a tough guy when he's nowhere near as tough as he's pretending he is. There were several times where I was laughing out loud, and this is why I say Jialun's acting is epic, where something happened and he's like, I'm tough. I didn't, like, he reminds me of my cat Chiaki when she's like, I didn't jump. I'm fine. Everything's cool. That's what Zhu Xuan does several times where he's like, Okay, that was hilarious. But he's also legit arrogant, and I don't like arrogant people. So this is why he's actually below, because I was expecting Xiao Bai to be the one that's like arrogant and irritating. Or Ji Zhao to be the one that was arrogant and irritating. And neither one of them is anywhere near as arrogant and irritating as Zhu Xuan is. And the thing is too, Zhu Xuan is arrogant. Actually, Ji Jun is also extremely arrogant. And this is getting into the parts of this drama that I was expecting, and they were exactly what I was expecting them to be. And I don't think I can really talk about it because, yeah. Like I said, the whole reincarnation thing, the whole human beings can cultivate and turn into deities. Literally. Think about it. Actually, use your brain and think about what they're doing. Logically, there is zero logic, zero consistency, zero anything good about, it blows my mind that people can actually think that this is not only real, but that it's a good thing, because I don't see anything good in any of this. It blows my mind. And yeah, so this story, spoilers for the end of it, I had to skip forward, and it looks like out of 61 episodes, it was like episode 58 or something like that. I'm like, okay, it's bad enough that the main two are like struggling, Zhu Xuan and Xiao Bai, to end up together. They're defying everything and trying to find a balance to just, all I want to do is be together, but because he was born with the fate to be lonely for his whole life, he can't be with anybody, period. And because she's a demon, they're not allowed to be together. And if they are together, it's going to destroy the 3 realms. So because of all that, it's bad enough that they aren't allowed to be together, and they have to go through all these ridiculous things. At least if they had ended up together in the end, it would make it worth it. But no, they don't end up together in the end. I didn't actually sit there and watch it because I was skipping ahead, so I don't know if they were saying that eventually, thousands of years from now, he'll come back again and they can be together, or whether that's it, that's the end of the story, they can never be together because of the way he died. Because at one point, he was talking to Zhi Zhao, and I was skipping over the conversation, but Zhi Zhao was saying something about they cannot end up together ever because he will never ever come back. He can't be reincarnated again or anything like that, so they can never be together because of the way he was dying. So I don't know. That either way, I'm like, but at least if that was it, I could maybe continue to stand it and watch the show if there I go, see? If Ji Chao and Zhao Qing had ended up together. But no, and this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I cannot watch it without sound. I was watching the scene where Zhao Qing dies. And Ji Chao's reaction to it, Mao Zi Jun, you are way too impactful of an actor. I wasn't even watching it with sound, and I'm like, excuse me while I go sob in a corner. I can't do this. I can't. Absolutely not. Especially because it looks like they went ahead and did something absolutely dirty with Zhao Qing. It looks like she somehow got either possessed and taken over and forced into being a bad guy, or she just somehow, I don't know how, but it looks like she ended up being a bad guy for a while. And like I say, I have no idea who Fa Hai is. That makes it, Did he decide to change his name again for some reason? Or did he, like, I don't understand who Fahai is. So I don't know what happens with his character either. Does he turn dirty? Does he get taken over, or is this his choice to suddenly turn into like a backstabber, which is completely 100% out of character for him? I mean, yes, he kind of tried to go against them a couple of times, but like I say, he's actually one of the best friends you could possibly ask for, because every time he tried to go against them, I 100% understand why he did it, and he didn't actually go through with it because he really does care about Zhu Juan. And because he cares so much about Zhu Juan, he cares about Xiao Bai. And I'm like, you are amazing. Like, Xi Chao is amazing. So I don't know who Fahai is, and I don't know what this show decided to do dirty with him for that. And they definitely did something dirty with Xiao Qing. And because of all that, I can't. I literally can't. I can't handle stories like this. I just can't. It is entirely driven by fate, by destiny, and I would dearly love to know what the difference between destiny and fate is supposed to be, because they're always acting like they're the same thing, but they're not the same thing. And literally, this is why I say there's absolutely no logic whatsoever in this whole belief system, because literally every show I watch that talks about reincarnation, every show I watch that talks about these deities and all this kind of stuff, every single one of them, there's small similarities and there's massive differences. They're never ever consistent, not with each other and not even with themselves. Through the whole show you're watching it, they are never consistent in what they claim. Ever. They are literally, every sentence they say is contradicting themselves. So, I had to drop Destiny of White Snake. I can't go back to it. As much as at the point that I was in, I was already like, okay, these two, weight of the world, even though I liked Zhu Xuan and Xiao Bai, and I loved them, I can't say I loved them actually, because yeah, they were getting to the point of being incredibly frustrating, because they're constantly they're both basically being driven by the same desire and the same everything, and yet they're not seeing eye to eye. They're being very selfish, both of them, because they're like, I don't want to go through this, therefore I'm going to put you through it instead. That's basically what they're saying, because she's like, I already went through 1,000 years of waiting for you. I can't stand to do that again. Therefore, I'm going to save you and basically die in order to save you, which means she's going to put him through the 1,000 years at least of what she already went through, and she can't stand to do again, so it's his turn. And I'm like, how's that fair? And yet he's like, no, I absolutely can't stand, if you die, that mean, I've seen this in other dramas where the girl is like, being separated from you is pretty much death. And the guy's like, I can stand to be separated from you because at least you're still alive. And I've seen that before, and I understand both sides of the story. I get it. But at the same time, both of them are actually being very selfish, because they're like, I don't want to go through this suffering, this type of suffering, so I'm going to choose this type of suffering so that this can be the result. And the other person's like, I don't want this result, so I'm going to do this because I think this is better than this. And that person's like, but I don't want this result, so I'm going to do this. And it's to the point where I can't enjoy any scene with them anymore, because even if it's a really cute scene, or if it's a really sweet scene, or if it's a really funny scene, I can only sort of kind of enjoy it, because in actuality, the big elephant in the room is that we all know that this is not gonna last, and any second now it's gonna get really bad again, and it's like one or the other of them through the entire thing is on death's doorstep, and all of their energy is spent on saving the other one from dying, and I'm like, can't do this anymore. And that was basically at the point that I was at by the end of episode 33, where I'm like, okay, how does this drama end? Because if there isn't something that's worth it and good at the end of it, and there isn't. Nope. No. Not only do Xiao Bai and Zhu Juan not end up together, they don't even let Ji Chao and Zhao Qing end up together. And I'm like, nope. So I moved on to something else. Now, specifically, I'm supposed to be talking about Zhu Juan specifically. Zhu Juan, it was very unique. Like I say, Ji Juan slash Zhu Juan was very unique. And the funny thing is that Ji Juan and Zhu Juan, even from themselves, because they're the same drama and it's reincarnation, so they're the same person, but they aren't the same person. Don't get me started on that. They're actually different from each other, even because I said don't get me started on it. he's very unique because he's definitely very arrogant. But he's also cute in an almost kind of innocent way where, like, especially at first I couldn't tell how old they were saying he's supposed to be. They said 20 years, so he's maximum 20 years old. But I think he's actually supposed to be a little younger than that. So I'm not positive. But I mean, like, at first didn't notice it, but then, like I say, there was all those times where I'm like almost fall out of my chair laughing because he's like, ah! I mean, there were several times that was so funny. So he's like a tough guy, but he's not a tough guy. And he's like intensely stubborn. That was actually both a bad thing and a good thing about him. Like, it was actually, there was a few times, like when he was talking to his sister about, I'm going to marry Zhao Bai, and she's like, no, I refuse to be the matchmaker because I will not agree to this. And he's like, I knew you wouldn't agree to it. Okay. And she's like, yes, I won. They won't get married. And he's like, which is why I went to the other matchmaker. My goodness, Xijuan. And there was several times too where someone like they tried to do underhandedly whatever to force him to do something, and he, nope, you can't force him to do something. If he doesn't want to do it, he will not do it. If he does want to do it, he will do it, and you cannot stop him. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. So I think more so than any of the other characters, he's definitely one of Jialun's most stubborn characters. Like, really. And he's definitely the most arrogant. The other characters, there's a couple of them that had a little bit of arrogance. Like, even Lu Yan, I think, had a bit of arrogance in him. So there's a few of his characters that do have a bit of arrogance, but it's only, like, shades of. Zhi was straight up skyrocketed arrogant. And Ji Juan was, too. Like, most of the time when I say Zhi Juan, I'm basically talking about everything, because I'm just stupid reincarnation. Anyway, and Zhi Juan is easier to say than Ji Juan, I guess. I don't know. You hear the name Zhi Juan a lot more. Anyway, so he's also a very unique character, and I can't believe names. Jialun. I can't believe, especially at this point, that Jialun actually managed to have a character that I ended up not liking. I mean, I did like him, but I also didn't like him, and that is the first character that I actually managed to like. From Blue Whisper, that's completely different. I ended up not liking him mostly because I just could not do the show anymore, and it was in a different way than Destiny and Whitesnake, so it's like, you can't really compare them. Can't compare the stories, can't compare the characters, because, like, you know, see my whole video on Blue Whisper. This is different. Zhao Bai and Zhi Juan definitely loved each other. It was, like, incredible, these two. And, like, I absolutely adore Zhao Bai. I absolutely hated the girl from Blue Whisper. Straight up hate her. Zhao Bai, I absolutely love her. Like I say, I actually liked her more than I liked Zhi Juan, and that is intensely put a plaque on the wall because that never happens. So, yeah, Zhi Juan was a very well done character. And other characters, I started disliking them because they didn't stay within character. This character, I started disliking him because he did stay within character, and I'm like, goodness me, Jialun, how did you manage to do that? Especially when this is like basically the last character I've seen him play, and I'm like, wow, this is one of the first characters he played, but it's one of the last characters I've seen, and I'm like, how did you, I was not expecting that. So, there's my super messy reaction to Destiny and Whitesnake, and I can't really say anything else. I have no script for it, so I don't know if I said everything that I meant to say or not, but that's about as much as I can say about it. And in both of these cases, yes, I'm kind of talking as much or more about the show than I am talking about Jialun's characters, even though this is about Jialun. At the same time, I did say that part of what makes Jialun such an epic actor is that not only are his characters all stand out in their own unique ways, but the shows he plays in all stand out in unique ways too. I was supposed to be saying goodbye. Bye!